further than anybody else, at least in this hemisphere, if you're like super depressed and you want to die, the government would help you do it. Well, they stopped it because they can't find enough doctors willing to participate.
Probably because it's a horrifying idea.
Doctors don't want to. Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, moving on.
I mean, you know, Canada is a wonderful place. I've enjoyed every minute I've spent in Canada. And Canadians are famously genial people. They're nice people. I think they're too nice. There needs to be more Canadians who stand up and say, that's a stupid idea that's going to ruin the country. They get all sorts of wackadoodle stuff going. Canada, come on. Be better, Canada. Do better.
Sorry you're so sad, but you can't, Chiku.
Wow.
New York Times reviewer on the new Apple Vision Pro video headset. This is the new VR thing. He said it's bounds better than even the best ones on the market. Like, way better. But at $3,500, it's not for everyone. Well, obviously, by definition. Let me read a little review. I thought this was interesting, particularly the end part prepared. I can't say if the Vision Pro solves what I call the 6-month program. With many VR headsets I've tried, this is what happened to me too in my life. The initial novelty fades, and invariably every headset I test ends up in my closet collecting dust. Yeah, we got the Oculus Facebook thingy, and it was really cool, and my kids liked it for like a week. It didn't even last 6 months in that. They just lost interest in it for whatever reason. He says there were several months with the Apple Vision Pro set on where I felt genuine wonder and a feeling of being present for what could turn out to be a major shift in computing. That's a pretty big deal. The second thing I have to say about the Vision Pro that is even after trying it, I still have no idea who or what this thing is supposed to be for.
That's an issue.
But this is the part that got me interested. I found several examples of what Apple is calling spatial photos and videos. These are made using a three-dimensional camera that is built into the Vision Pro itself. I've been excited about and disappointed by the promise of 3D photos and videos for years, as we all have. I'm a bit of an obsessive camera dad, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for something that makes me feel like I'm actually reliving a family memory rather than looking at a grainy snapshot. Grainy snapshot? Get a better camera. I haven't been a grainy snapshot in 60 years. But anyway,
Talking about
looking at spatial photos and videos in the Vision Pro, I realized that moment has arrived. The photos and videos in Apple's demo, which included a scene from a kid's birthday party, a video of a mom making bubbles for her daughter, and a family gathered around a kitchen table, were gorgeous, and the depth added by the 3D camera made them realistic. It felt to me no different than if I was a part of the scene myself. I gulped at the idea of rewatching my son's first steps with this technology. That would be amazing. Where you actually, it's just exactly like it was in the room at the time. We'll see. Who's going to buy for that? Well, that's a lot of money.
Armstrong and Getty.
And of course, the point being, if your kid took his first steps before this was invented, complete waste of your time.
That's what I was thinking, yes. Now that I'm into the empty and useless phase of my life, I hope the rest of you enjoy that.
Empty and useless.
I'm just taking up space. Please, I understand science. I understand evolution, anthropology. Elk Grove Ford and the Elk Grove Auto Mall needs to look into selling those, those amphibious things like the tourists on.
Yeah.
You drive along and see the homes of the stars, and then you go into the ocean for some reason. That's what you need to buy at Elk Grove Ford. I don't think they have any. So it's something with four-wheel drive, get you up off the pavement a little bit so you can go through the puddle.
I appreciated my big, tall F-250 yesterday, going through some places where I couldn't have done it in my car. But anyway, elkgroveford.com. Kayla and Rachel Wood will treat you right. Go to the website and see what they got on the lot.
Do not attempt to go through any puddles. Do not attempt this at home. Professional driver, closed course. Elk Grove Ford and the Elk Grove Auto Mall or elkgroveford.com.
You save more at Elk Grove, 'cause Elk Grove sells Ford.
Armstrong and Getty, weekdays 6 till 10 at Sacramento's best talk all day. And iHeart's radio station. Talk 650 KSE, Rancho Cordova, Sacramento.
I jotted out a will real quick at about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Thought it'd be a good idea. Because it seemed like the house was going to blow away, Wizard of Oz style.
Well, checking the Doppler AccuWeather Radar Center. Thunderstorms after 3 o'clock. Well, that's good. We could use the moisture.
Yeah, not much rain today, they claim, although it was pouring rain when I walked from my car into the building this morning, and it wasn't supposed to be raining then, so who knows. News now with Katie Green.
Yep, thunderstorms expected after 2 p.m. today, like Joe said, and more wind. 25 to 30 mile per hour winds expected in around the area today, and then we'll get a break from the rain until Saturday.
Well, we could use the wind. Nobody ever says we could use the wind. That's true.
Also, just a heads up, the Sacramento Regional Transit Light Rail Service is not in service today due to significant damage and power outages. They will be announcing when that will be going back into service.
Our elevator's out of work because of the electricity going on. I had to walk up the stairs like a hobo or something. And some schools are not having school today because of no electricity?
Right. We had the Rockland Unified School District announcing the closure of 3 schools, Antelope Creek Elementary, Sierra Elementary, and Springview Middle School. That's because of the power outages, and PG&E has not given them a heads up as to when that will be restored.
There's a handful of folks who've worked at the Radio Ranch through the years. If they got to work and heard the elevators are out, they'd have turned right around and gone home.
Taking a spirit day.
Yeah. They're taking it like 2 steps at a time and sat down for a while.
Oh,
2
geez.
more. And it's 88 steps, by the way.
What are you doing? What is this attack on your coworkers?
I'm encouraging physical fitness.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it's important. Take the time to take time for you. Physical fitness is important. Back to you, Katie.
Well, speaking of physical fitness, the Super Bowl is this weekend, and the 49ers and the Chiefs have arrived in Vegas. Another thing that will be happening, or won't be happening, Biden skipping the Super Bowl Sunday interview for a second straight year.
Also, just there's no particular reason why every president for the past quarter century has done the halftime interview at the Super Bowl, and Biden's decided to skip it. It's got nothing to do with the fact that he's incoherent, and it would just be a demonstration of how unfit he is.
You know, that's 100% correct. And I've always hated the idea that there's going to be a political interview.
I agree.
at the Super Bowl.
I agree. I don't like it as a tradition, but we all know why he skipped it.
Right.
And we just barely touched on this one last time, but Jerry Rice was doing an interview with the NFL Network over the weekend, and he said, I think that we need to take Travis Kelce, double on him 100%. Also, double down on Taylor Swift 100%. We don't want Travis to get going because every time Travis gets going, the camera goes straight up to the ball with Taylor Swift.
I like his main concern being, don't let Travis catch the ball because then we'll have to see Taylor Swift.
Leave other guys open. That's fine. Enough with the chick.
That is funny.
Take us with you on your free iHeartRadio app, free music, radio, and podcast. Now, traffic on Talk 650 KSD.
West on 80, Roseville to Cap City, split 10 minutes, another 10 minutes on West Cap, split to downtown Elk Grove to downtown Sacramento, 12 minutes on North I-5, 11 minutes on North 99, Folsom to downtown Sacramento, and 24 minutes west on 50, clear over the Yolo Causeway, traffic every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons. KFBK News Radio, 93.1 FM, 1530 AM.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
I can afford to follow my dreams.
I can afford to do whatever I put my mind to.
I can afford college.
Start your future at a California community college. Financial aid is available to help with tuition, books, and sometimes even the rent.
I can afford to invest in myself and my future.
It's time to take the next big step. Classes can fill up quickly, so enroll today at icangotocollege.com.
We saw the ad and we thought we would give it a try. And I noticed after the first month, we just felt better. I told my doctor too, and she said, this sounds like a really good product for you to be taking. We plan to take it for life.
I ran this by my doctor. I always run it by her, everything I take, and I told her I've been taking this for a while. Is this okay to take? She goes, oh, this is wonderful for you to take. Keep taking it. She goes, I approved it. This is very good. So she said, yes, this is one thing you can take that's very good. I'm not going to stop taking out nature.
Step into the new year with a new you. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code Sacramento.
KSDE has your chance to win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it now at KSDE.com.
Brought to you by Subcontractors United.
Think for yourself. Participate in the debate. Talk to 50 KSDE.
Critics say an attack on Iran would start a wider war than we do not want. Will you take attacking inside Iran off the table right now? And he said, well, I'm not going to comment on what is or isn't on the table, but blah, 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 which is a perfectly reasonable answer.
Yes,
well, just to get back to the question, are you taking it off the table and attacking inside Iran? Well, I'm not taking anything off the table. We will respond to, and then she said, so you are leaving it on the table and attacking Iran. He said, I'll say it again. He sounded a little annoyed. Do you understand there's not an actual table? Okay? Let's start there, Kristen. Okay? Beyond, what is the point of that sort of journalism or conversation?
I don't know. It's idiotic. It serves no purpose.
Anybody who would ever take anything off the table is...
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
No, we're not planning to, but if they nuke Omaha, we'll change our minds, all right, Kristen? So it's off the table, but it's sitting on the chair. And I can reach over and take it off the chair, put it back on the table, right next to the fruit bowl. Are you happy now?
I have this habit of, like, in my car when I'm listening to this stuff, like sometimes pausing things and then answering them the way they should have been answered, which I know is weird.
That.
I know it's weird. I do it out loud. But one of them, you know, this is getting into just media criticism, but they were talking about various strikes in the Middle East, and Kristen Walker said, is this going to damage the ability to get the hostages back for Israel? And he gave some diplomatic answer, and that's when I paused it in my car and answered, well, it might or it might not. But if you kill U.S. soldiers, we are going to respond regardless of any other circumstances. So, I don't know. What's the point of that question?
But he didn't answer.
No.
That seems like a perfectly reasonable answer.
He did the whole very diplomatic. I mean, you're pretty diplomatic when you're a diplomat for a living. You are by definition.
Yeah.
But that sort of stuff drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So if they get to snatch women and children in the middle of the night and hold them hostage, then we have to take certain cards away ourselves? What the hell kind of world would that be?
Well, right, exactly. I find myself exhausted by the question.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you could muster up the energy to offer a faux homemade answer. I'd be tempted to go with, I don't know. Will you take this off the table? Might.
So I don't know. New York Times said in the aftermath of the attacks over the weekend, so if you weren't paying attention, we had the attacks Thursday night, which we talked about Friday morning, which were directly as a response to our soldiers being killed. Then more attacks on Saturday, which we're saying is just attacking the Houthis for the shipping lane stuff. I think it's all tied together, don't you? It's just if you mess with us enough, we're going to hit you really, really hard.
Well, now that is the really good question. Is this all tied together, and should it be? All of these attacks against our troops and Iran's regional power. We're not going anywhere near the center. So yeah, that's the great question. Is this all tied together? And so is this just a silly exercise attacking the proxies instead of the mothership?
From the New York Times on Saturday, in the aftermath, American officials insisted there was no back-channel discussion with Tehran, no quiet agreement that the United States would not strike directly at Iran.
That's interesting. That was my main question. Is that going on? Well, of course, if you have back channels, you don't admit to them.
Well, you're right. There's been no communications with Iran since the attack, John F. Kirby, a spokesman. Okay, since the attack. You might have thrown that in a lawyerly way. How about before the attack? That's what we're wondering about. Told reporters on a call Friday night after the retaliatory strikes were completed. Yeah, I didn't notice that the first time I read that. No communications with Iran since the attack. Now, the question is, did you get a hold of them before the attack and say, look, we're about to unload a barrel full of whoop ass here. We will not be striking you, all right? No attack, no strikes inside Iran. We might have told them that ahead of time.
Well, and if Joe Biden found his ancient cojones, I would hope the message would have been... It's a metaphor. Sorry. Come on. I would have hoped that the message would have been, dot, whoop ass. The next giant barrel of whoop ass is coming your way, but you fall off the dog. And according to some pretty good analysis in the Wall Street Journal, they think that the guy who succeeded Soleimani, whose name is Connie or something like that, not Connie, C-O-N-N-I-E, Q-A-A-N-I, that he does not have nearly the tight control over the proxies that Soleimani did. And so there's some speculation around through the non-existent back channels is, look, you got to get these guys on a tighter leash, or we have to come for you. We have to come for somebody right now for domestic political purposes. This is a very cynical assessment. This is not what I'm advocating, just what I think is happening. We've got to bomb somebody, all right? And we're going to start with these guys, because you're telling us that you can't control them, but you better try hard to control them, or the next can of whoop ass comes your way.
I think they could control them. I mean, I can't imagine that they could. It doesn't mean that they orchestrated, they're in charge of their doing the attacks, but it reminds me of like The Sopranos or Godfather, those kind of, where one crime family attacks the other crime family, and, because some crimes happening in their neighborhood. Well, they might have not directed it, but you have the ability to rein these people in. You better flip and figure out how to rein these people in.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Right.
Another tweet I came across, I missed this somehow on Meet the Press. Ramesh Panuru of the National Review tweeted out, on Meet the Press, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan cited some of Hamas's hostages having passed away. Wow, that is some passive language. Hostages passed away while in the custody of Hamas? Oof, how hard are you going to work?
I'm probably trying too hard to find reasonable explanations for the half-assery coming out of the Biden administration. But they've tried to tell us, he has tried to tell us who he is over and over and over again. He is Mr. Half-Ass. They passed away. Are you so concerned with some sort of two-state solution, which at this point is like me dreaming of an NBA career? How the hell would that happen?
Oh, that's all the rage right now among your high-level intellectuals. That's the column Tom Friedman wrote. They brought it up on all the Sunday talk shows yesterday. The key to de-escalating and bringing peace to the Middle East is the two-state solution. First of all, I've never believed that. You get the two-state solution, which is impossible. Iran is still vowing to eliminate Israel and us.
Right. Well, and Hamas, which is still in control, nominally, of Gaza, and still has plenty of power and influence and arms, is vowed to wipe Israel off the map the second they can. And so, by what reasoning would Israel say, all right, let's try again? Explain to me that road, what that looks like. People are like, and I've talked about this before, well, that'll kill the patient. Yeah, I know, but still, we gotta try. No, you've got to address the fact that what you're suggesting is fatal. You can't skip over that part.
I did a deep dive on Menachem Begin over the weekend. I thought